Hey everyone, I am excited to be here today. I brought on a special guest, Jenev Caddell of My Best Relationship. And I'm really excited to be here because I get questions all the time about how to deal with your partner when you're making investments in your business. And while I've helped clients through it, I haven't had to deal with that personally, luckily. So I thought it'd be awesome to bring on a relationship expert to talk about more in depth about how to deal with issues that come up when you're running a business, when you're wanting to invest in your business, when you're wanting to do things for yourself and your business, and your partner may or may not agree with it. So, Jenev, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your experience in dealing with couples in business.
Sure. Well, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me here, Nicole. So my name's Jenev Caddell. I'm a psychologist, and I have a small private practice working with couples in New Hampshire. And I also do online coaching globally with a lot of high performers, business owners, about, life stuff, relationship stuff. And I'm thrilled to be here talking to you guys today because this is such a popular topic. It's something that comes up, and it can really, put a hold on your business, put a hold on your marriage. It can really stuff you up in all the wrong areas if you don't handle this, the right way. Not like there's a right way, but I'm excited to share some tips today.
Yeah. And I think it's something that, as a business owner, this is even just something important for people to watch who don't have partners, but, are running a business and are dealing with this with their clients as well.
Absolutely. And it doesn't just mean, spouses necessarily. It certainly can extend to any family member that might have an influence on you, that you talk to, that, even a friend. Depending on the level of, closeness in the relationship as well. So
right.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive in.
The one thing that I've seen come up, and I'll just talk about it for me because, I work with entrepreneurs in business coaching. And, I think that having support for your business is so essential. And I think especially for women who are looking to become more of a leader, who are looking to really grow their business, because truthfully, I don't think women get a lot of support in this area. And many of us were not really brought up to be leaders or told that we can do things like this. So I think we do look for support a little bit more frequently than men do, or men in a different way. And I feel like there is sometimes a disconnect when I'm talking to people where, they're ready to sign on, but their husband doesn't understand why they need it. They think it's a waste of money. They think they should just be able to do stuff on their own. So do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest problems that a lot of, especially earlier business owners, or maybe people who are just kind of starting out, or they're taking a big leap, but one of the biggest problems is that they'll go to their partner for support or for validation or permission, or even to talk through some of their insecurities or fears, or they're looking for that, oh yeah, you can do it, go for it, just sign up.
Right.
When in actuality, they're kind of conveying the energy of uncertainty and of insecurity and of, maybe fear. Because, anybody who's made a big investment in their business without knowing, will this pay off or not, it's been scary, right? So the problem is that your partner will often pick up on that energy and try to protect you, basically, by saying, don't do it, because you're obviously not sure if this is a good decision or not for you. So don't do it. And, one of the other things, this is actually a tip from my mother-in-law. She's told me this a long time ago, which is that in every couple, there's typically, and I found this to be true years later in my practice and on, but there's typically one partner who's sort of more practical and the other who's more of a dreamer, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times we go to the wrong people for support in our businesses, or for business advice or coaching or help. You go to the wrong people. So if you're going to your spouse, unless you're in a business together and you're, working on it together, it's usually not the wisest choice. You may be, and I'm all about emotional intimacy and connection and helping people open up to each other and talk with each other. I'm all about that. I'm not saying keep things secret. That's another problem that people have, which we can talk more about, but that's a little bit different. But I am saying to, when you need to make a sound business decision for your business, if your spouse, even if they are in many cases, but if your spouse isn't, on your team business-wise, they're not the person to go to, especially if you're not sure about the decision yourself.
Right. And it's interesting too, because it seems like it's almost that much necessary for you to get support and set yourself up with a strong support system when your spouse isn't on your team 100%. And the reality is, I think they don't need to be on your team for you to have a successful, thriving business. And I think a lot of business owners waste energy trying to convert them.
100%. And that's true about business. It's true about personal growth, personal development. I know when I first started learning about, quantum physics and, the, what the bleep do we know that came out, I made my husband come watch it with me. And it was just like, all right, like it's not his thing. That's okay. I can have a separate interest. Sometimes we want to bang our partners' heads with books and things like that, but that's not really necessarily what it just, if they're not interested in the same things that you aren't, whether it's about business or creating your own reality or anything like that, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not compatible or that they don't support you or any of those things. Because I think what happens a lot of the times is that people will start this pattern of looking for support for them or looking for encouragement or validation, but it's coming from a place of, again, of insecurity, of a lack of faith or confidence in yourself, which is fine to go to a business coach with. It's fine to, talk about that in a mastermind. It's really not wise necessarily to go to your partner with that, because they're not trained to help you with that. That's not their job.
Right. It's funny because I had a client last year who was ready to sign up. She had been in some of my free content. So she already was familiar with me, and she got on a call and she really wanted to sign up. And then she got off the call and she talked to her partner, and he was like, just do it on your own. Why would you spend that money? Kind of stuff. So she really doubted herself, and, then she hesitated, and, she ended up signing on anyways. But it sucked because it became a decision from a place of stress. And, truthfully, we were a great match, and she turned it around and she literally quadrupled her income. And she's like, thank God I didn't listen to him. But, I've seen it happen before where other people have gotten off the call and they go to their partner and they never come back.
Yep. It happens a lot. It happens a lot because a lot of people prematurely go to their partner to talk about these decisions that they have to make before they've fully thought them through. And it's really important to actually decide, okay, is this something that I know is going to help my business? Is this something that I'm prepared to do the work for, to get the investment back tenfold or quadruple fold or whatever it is, right? Is this something that I am clear is going to support me in my business? If you're an artist and you need paintbrushes to make your paintings, you're not going to go and be like, oh, I kind of want these paintbrushes. What do you think? Do you think I should get these paintbrushes, partner? Or right, no, you're going to be like, okay, well, I need these paintbrushes to make a painting. I'm going to go get the paintbrushes. Same thing in this. I'm not saying if you're not at a place where the business is supporting itself and maybe you need to use some personal funds. Yes. Okay. I'm not saying don't talk to your partner about it, but I am saying come at them with a place of confidence and security and knowing hey, this is a big deal, right? But I know that I need to do this to help my business. Here's how it's going to help. And if you can be clear about the results that you're looking to achieve and what those goals are and how this program or whatever it is that you're signing up for or whatever you want to make as a coach or whatever it is, whatever you're investing, and if you can be clear about how it's going to help and you talk about that confidently and say, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to, this is what I need to quadruple my business. Yeah. Why wouldn't you make the investment, right? Your partner's going to be like, great, go for it. Go for it.
So it sounds like you should really, if it's something you're doing a sales call for, or if it's something, where whatever, even if it's a sign up page, it sounds like you need to make the decision first as the boss.
Absolutely.
If this is something you want, right? And then it's either, letting your partner know, if you have the money and you're already doing it, oh, this is what I'm doing next to up level my business. Or if it is something where it's coming out of personal funds, then it's just coming from a place of, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is the next steps. Now, how can you set boundaries around your business finances? One thing that I've seen happen sometimes is that the partner is sort of involved in the business finances, and is putting themselves in them and looking at them or helping with bookkeeping and stuff like that.
Yeah. I've always said, I mean, especially when you're starting out, like it makes more sense to just have it all separate, have your separate business. I mean, I'm sure you talk about this with your clients, but having separate,
Right.
business accounts, separate
You're
business
still
credit
getting
cards.
involved in the business accounts.
I mean, is that something you want? I mean, if you're not comfortable with that, right, and your partner's involved with the business account, then you've got way more problems than just financial, meddling by your partner. I mean, that's
It's
sort of like,
okay to say, hey, no, like this
absolutely, 100%. 100. Well, yeah. I mean, I know you know that, but if you're
well,
not
I do know
comfortable,
that, but I also don't have that issue. So it's always nice to hear it. Like, that's why I wanted to come to you as an expert too, because it seems like, something that could be, a good boundary to set. But I know totally when you're in the process of it, it feels very scary to set.
yeah, right. And if this is something that you guys have done, I'm saying you guys isn't like somebody watching this and your partner. If this is something that you guys have done a certain way for so long and it's starting to not work for you, I really recommend that you sort of have the difficult conversation and you say, hey, and however, I mean, that's a whole other topic about how to talk about difficult things and stuff like that. But if you're getting the feeling, this is like not really working for me, you need to address it, right? I mean, how's that for your intimacy and your connection with each other if you can't even talk about how comfortable you are about bookkeeping, right?
And I think that's really important to note too, is that, even if it started out that way, that doesn't mean it needs to keep being that way. Like,
totally,
your business is going to grow and shift. And a lot of my clients go through huge up levels and huge income increases, and they really need good financial systems. And going to their partner, who really doesn't even understand certain investments that you need to make in business, like email systems and things like that,
totally.
like tools and softwares that we need to run our business, credit card fees, whatever it is, it's very easy to start to doubt yourself and to really, it could actually limit your business growth as a result, because you're getting caught putting so much energy into hearing things from someone who's just not knowledgeable in the same way about what you need.
Totally. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you think is particularly helpful in terms of like having that conversation or just kind of setting it? I always think about like, just to kind of compare, like if you were at a job, would your husband be helping you make the decisions that you need to make for your job on a daily basis? Like you'd be venting about your boss, or you'd be venting about your coworkers or telling them about projects, but he wouldn't be helping you. You wouldn't be going to him or her to make the decision. So I think that's also kind of a good kind of way to say like, wait a second, if this was somewhere else, would I be going to them?
Totally. Well, and I think it's a great analogy. And, the thing to remember is that your partner, I mean, in most cases, right, your partner just wants to support you, wants to make sure you're okay. And that is, what energy are you putting out there? What are you saying? It's not, why is it okay if you don't think it's okay for them to be, in your business finances, right? If you don't think it's okay. So one of the other issues that people come up against is they feel like their partner doesn't support them, right? They feel like their partner is anti, or that, and that this becomes this huge wedge between them as well. And, I mean, I could go on about that, but if you're, by that same token, right, keeping things secret and kind of being all weird about it and, trying and feeling guilt. And I mean, there's some financial infidelity. I'm sure that's a whole other topic, right? So how can you have these conversations in an open and communicative way? And I would just really encourage whoever, if you're feeling like you're coming up against this issue in your own relationship or marriage or whatever, to really kind of take a look inward and really look at your own confidence and your own faith in yourself and your own, ability to pull this off and really be very open about it. And if it's an issue between the two of you, then stay with it until you can continue to talk about it. I mean, you can get a third party help if you need because obviously they say money is one of the biggest issues between couples. Money is not. They say money and sex are the biggest issues that come up between couples. And they're really not. It's about really feeling like, okay, your partner's a priority. Your partner needs to feel like they're a priority to you, right? And so that doesn't mean just like shutting their voice down or doing this in a way that's sort of secretive, like I said, but it does mean inviting them into your world and really doing, again, your work on yourself to feel like, okay, you know what, I'm doing the research. And if you're not sure about the decision, looking at, all the evidence that you have, talking to people who've maybe made the decision before you, really getting clear on what results am I going to get from this whatever thing I'm investing in if I'm going to do it, getting really, really crystal clear on all that and knowing it for yourself so that you can come to your partner with that kind of confidence and authority and understanding and knowing. And if they're not okay with it, excuse me, if they're not okay with it and you have to have their buy-in to do it, that's a huge issue, right? I'm so sorry. That's a sticking point that you need to be able to figure out how to talk about.
Yeah. So it really is actually a separate relationship issue. It isn't actually a communication issue. It sounds like it's not actually about the investment of your business, but in your business that you need to make for yourself, but it gets caught up in that.
Yeah, for sure.
So it is really important, once again, for everybody who's on and has dealt with this or maybe hasn't dealt with this because they've avoided making investments or decisions or things like that because they don't want to deal with it because they're afraid to deal with it. It really is about you getting clear on if this is the best thing for you and your business, making the decision to invest in it, and then going to your partner and letting them know about it and keeping them involved that way, but not in terms of the decision-making process, just more of, this is what's going on in my business right now.
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, isn't that, even if you're not in a relationship, right? Isn't it better to make a decision from a place of, okay, here's what I'm going to get from this. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to show up for this, from this place of, I'm going to get these results energy versus,
right.
I'm freaking out. I'm going to do it because I think I should. And right. I mean, just the kind of energy you bring into anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, and I think also that will help you show up better for your business too, when you are making those decisions for yourself.
100%.
At the end of the day, when you are running your business, you are responsible for it. So, it is important to make sure that you're feeling good about your decisions, because if you start letting someone else make decisions for your business, it is going to get very messy, especially if it's someone who, once again, doesn't really understand the business piece, doesn't understand, what you're doing or that deeper level stuff, and isn't helping you objectively look at how to really strategically grow things. So, I love that you're really clear on how to set the boundary around that, so that you can feel good about the decision you're making for your business, whether or not your partner is aligned with it.
Absolutely. And it is, you said it, it's totally taking responsibility, and you got to take 100% responsibility. And,
right.
It's easy to say, oh, well, you know what, they said I could. So, oops, if I didn't make the most of it or whatever.
Yeah. And I think for, business owners who are in the position where they are having this kind of conversation with people, it really is important that, like for me as the business owner who I have this conversation with people in terms of, in terms of a sales call or a consult or whatever, and they're talking about, if they want to work with me, and then they're like, wait, I got to check with my partner. I really make sure to get clear with them, and you've helped me come up with this process, that they are really clear on whether or not they want to do it before we even leave the call. How do they feel about it? Do they have any other questions? Because before, when I wasn't as comfortable with selling, it was really easy for me to just, as soon as they said that, be like, oh, okay, go talk to your partner.
Yeah.
And just kind of like leave it at that. And I really didn't do my piece, because the truth is I'm not going to be working with their partner. So it doesn't actually, affect me in terms of what the partner thinks about me. It really only, my relationship with the potential client is the only thing that matters. So really getting clear on, do you have any more questions? How do you feel about this? And I think that's really important too, to even set the boundary around that, help them set the boundary around that, help the consult set the boundary around that before they even go on to the next thing.
Totally. I mean, it's the same thing as what they say with, like pricing even. It's like, is this something that you want, right? Like, regardless of the price, is this a yes or a no? You need to know that first. If, regardless of what your husband says or your partner says or your wife says or whatever,
right?
Is this a yes or a no, right?
Totally.
And if you're, signing up with a coach because your coach is going to be able to help you quadruple your income, right? Is your partner going to say yes or no to that? Right? To the result. Right. All they see is the investment. They see, $10,000,
right?
$20,000, whatever it is, right? They see that investment, and understandably they freak out, because why should you have to invest all this money, right? They don't get it necessarily, right? Most of them don't. like
Yeah,
you said.
totally. It's just not something they have to think about a lot of times for their own work. So, you know, and I think in general, once again, you know, in terms of like women versus men, just in terms of that piece, or just personality wise too, like some of us definitely like a support system, like support and want it, you know, and why should we have that?
We should.
You know, it is absolutely important that you're making that decision for yourself about the support system you want to set up for yourself, and not letting your partner make the decision about the support for you, because, you know, sometimes there's just different personalities, different characteristics that prevent them from even seeing why you would want or need that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And there, you can't have enough support. I mean, everybody could use some more support,
Right.
but be careful of the source.
Right. Totally.
In different areas, right?
Well, thank you so much for helping me dive into this a little bit deeper, because, you know, I think it is sometimes hard to have that conversation with people, or to even help them, you know, kind of assess, you know, what do they need to do to make this decision without it being influenced by their partner. So I'm really grateful for you to hopping on here with me today and just kind of covering some of those things. Where can people find you? Where can they find out more about what you do and how you support couples?
Sure. So my website's mybestrelationship.com, and you can check my stuff out there. You can get a free chapter of my book. And it's been a pleasure talking with you, Nicole. I'm always happy to talk about this stuff, and you know, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.